A tough April 1st for the Dolphins, and it was unfortunately not an April Fool's joke. The Dolphins lose Calais Campbell, him going to the Arizona Cardinals on a 1-year deal. Hey, everyone, this is going to be a quick podcast. Alan Poupar here, Miami Dolphins on SI Publisher, the All Dolphins podcast. The news coming down late Tuesday afternoon of Calais Campbell agreeing to a 1-year deal with the Arizona Cardinals, as just mentioned. Deal reportedly worth $5.5 million, possibly up to $7.5 million. That Campbell wanted to play again for what's going to be an 18th season kind of seemed to be in the cards, no pun intended, because he's now signing with the Cardinals. Sorry. Based on the comments and just the overall feel, comments from Mike McDaniel on Monday at the owners' meetings when he talked about his status. And if you read between the lines, it sure sounded, and the words were something along the lines of, because of the way he played last year, it gave him the incentive to want to come back. So the thought became, yeah, Campbell's going to be back for an 18th season in 2025, but he's a unrestricted free agent. So which team is he going to sign for? It figures that there were more teams interested than just the Arizona Cardinals. The Dolphins certainly would have loved to get Campbell back. That was not, again, in the cards. Sorry, I have to go to that one again. As far as the money is concerned, it's a little bit of a race for Campbell, who played last year for $3.125 million, according to overthecap.com, which was an absolute steal. A, for a player of Campbell's caliber and resume, and B, for what he brought to the Dolphins in terms of leadership, in terms of performance. For those, as we talked about with Chris Perkins on the show on Monday, subscribe to the idea of Pro Football Focus as being a good gauge for the play of interior defensive linemen, players whose stats are not so easily attainable or so descriptive, perhaps would be a better way to put it. He was ranked number 6 among all NFL interior defensive linemen in 2024, first against the run, had 5 sacks. The dude was just great. That he did it at 38 years old made it even more impressive. So now he's going to try to do it again at 39 for the Cardinals. It's a little bit of a surprise, if not a big surprise, that Campbell would rejoin the Cardinals. Remember, he was a second-round pick of the Cardinals in 2008 when he was coming out of the University of Miami. And the reason it's a bit of a surprise is the Cardinals have made the playoffs once in the past 9 seasons. It's not a team that looks like it's anywhere close to the Super Bowl. And if you recall, this was something that Campbell mentioned last year after he signed with the Dolphins, this idea of chasing a championship ring, which is one thing missing from his resume, a resume that very well may land him in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. So why the Cardinals? Obviously, there had to be some pull with the organization, familiarity, obviously, with the area. Played 9 seasons there before he moved on to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It may never come out exactly who was offering what. I have a hard time believing that the Dolphins wouldn't have been agreeable to giving him the 5.5 he got from the Cardinals. If that were to be shown to be the case, that's bad. That would be really, really bad. Because what he brought to the Dolphins last season, even if he brought a little bit less in 2025, still would be easily worth $5.5 million. Again, up to 7.5. Going to assume there are incentives thrown in there. This is a contract the Dolphins very, very easily could have matched. If there is one bright side, and not a great one, it does help the Dolphins in terms of the compensatory pick formula for last year, because the size of the Campbell's contract puts him in the pool of all the compensatory free agents. And I know I'm getting into the weeds here. It's a very complicated formula. But before today, the Dolphins had 2 qualifying compensatory free agents signed and 2 lost. Now they have a net deficit with 3 lost, 2 signed, and the one who's going to wind up being the outlier and the one determining the what round the pick's going to be is a Javon Holland signing with the New York Giants for an average of $15.1 million a year. We're looking at the possibility of getting a 4th-round pick for that as it stands right now. Remember, the compensatory free agents are those signed before June 1st. When Campbell signed with the Dolphins last year on June 18th, I think it was, the 14th, he did not count against the formula. because that date had passed. The downside overall, though, it's bad for the 2025 Dolphins because their defensive tackle room remains extraordinarily thin when we're looking at Zach Sealer, Benito Jones, Matt Dickerson, and Neil Farrell. It screams need both from the veteran standpoint and the draft. And I don't know that there would be any way to look at the Dolphins draft situation right now screaming for a defensive tackle, either at number 13 in the first round, either in the second round, and again, supplemented by a veteran free agent addition as well. So this is not good news. Now, the next veteran, of course, whose future needs to be determined is Teron Armstead. Said all along, of the two, I thought Campbell had the better chance of coming back, even though it was always less than 50-50, probably because the Baltimore Ravens always loomed as a team that figured to be interested in Campbell, with Campbell being very much interested in going back to the Ravens. That didn't pan out. He did leave, but he left for the Arizona Cardinals. The next one to be determined is Teron Armstead. Feeling still remains less than 50-50, probably way less than 50-50, that he'll be back with the Dolphins in 2025. But who knows, maybe there's another surprise on the way there, a more pleasant surprise than the Dolphins losing Calais Campbell again to the Arizona Cardinals on a one-year deal. So that's going to wrap it up. Thanks, everyone.